to 240 frames per second, 4K streaming at 120 frames per second, ultra-wide monitor support. Man, oh man, GeForce Now have knocked it out of the park with this 4080 tier announcement this week. Plus, more than 20 games being added to the GeForce library in January. All this and much, much more. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, roll the titles. Yokoso, arigato gozaimasu, happy new year and all of that. I hope you're good. I hope you are well. We have cracked off the year, as it were. It sounded a bit odd, a bit rude. The year has cracked off. Well, GeForce Now have gone, with a bang with their epic announcement about the 4080 tier. Now, we knew they were hyping their CES announcement quite a lot just before Christmas, saying, got to be watching, must be watching, must be watching. Now we know why. Some of us would sort of predicted it might be something to do with upgrading it, sort of might/hoped it'd be to do with upgrading it. But wow, they've actually gone and done it. Upgraded the 3080 tier to 4080 tier. Unbelievable. And called Ultimate. I was on Rock's show last week and I said they're going to have to change the name. This is before they announced the 4080, but we kind of assumed that if they did upgrade to 4080, they're going to have to change the name of that top tier and they should just call it GeForce Now Ultra or GeForce Now Ultimate. And sure enough, that's what they've gone and done. So we're going to be talking about all the news around that, unpacking it. But let me know, this is the GeForce Now Thursday Chat. Welcome everybody, as ever, to the GeForce Now Thursday Chat. That's what it says above the door. And you're the chat. So I would really appreciate it. Your views, your opinions on the big news from GeForce Now this week. Has it got you excited? Do you have the 3080 tier and are excited about the prospects of 4080 playing at 4080 tier with, as I say, up to 240 frames per second, 4K at 120 frames per second? Or are you at priority tier and now tempted, to make that leap to the ultimate tier? Let me know your thoughts in the chat below, of course. Oh, here's the chat. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Yeah. Also, what games have you been playing over the Christmas break? All of that. I'm always very interested to hear. What games you've been playing? Doesn't have to be on GeForce Now. What games you're looking forward to, and all of that, because also GeForce Now announced some games as well. In fact, they showed off. Now, this was GeForce as opposed to GeForce Now. They showed off some games, which we will take a look at. And I did think, now, if you're showing off that these games are powered or, have the benefit of, if you play with GeForce Now, the kind of enhanced elements to it, then it makes sense that you make sure that those games are available on your cloud streaming service. Well, one of them definitely is, and we'll come to that, and is a big one, and one that I was thought that might not be, because I know it's a first-party game for another console, for Xbox, basically. But we'll come to that anyway. And all of that. And so, yeah, put it in the chat. It's always good. As ever, let's dive into the chat before we get into the big news. See who's in the chat. See what's bubbling away there. Craig Anthony, straight in there. Now, he posted this about an hour ago. Yes, mate, it's always been better than Stadia as well. I said this on your channel about a year ago. Well, there you go. Certainly, it's interesting. I was working it out. The 3080 tier, I believe, was launched in October 21. So in less than 15 months, yeah, in less than 15 months, we've got this upgrade. It was always something that Stadia, we said that, in the background, it would just upgrade. And that's what GeForce Now are doing. And it makes a lot of sense. And that's the future. You know, you don't have to buy a new console each time or even upgrade the tier. And then the 3080 tier gets relegated down to it. No, they just upgrade the super pods in the background. Now, I did post on Facebook there that I thought I had it already. Now, the reason is, if you go to GeForce Now, why don't I just call it up? I'll show you what I mean. If I open my GeForce Now, let's just go to here. If you go to GeForce Now, there, you'll see they've already upgraded. I don't know if you can see it there. They've already upgraded it to Ultimate. They've just changed the name to Ultimate there. If you had the 3080 tier, it will now say Ultimate. But the reason I thought I might add it is because the wording here, it said it changed slightly. Now, I don't think I do have it actually in retrospect, but the wording here, go beyond fast with RTX 4080 power in the cloud. Get ready for 240 frames per second streaming, ultra-wide monitor support, and 4K 120 frames per second. When I looked at this earlier in the week, when they first announced it, the wording was slightly different. And so because the wording's changed here to slightly more like it, so the wording before was like, I can't remember exactly, but it's long like, you know, coming soon or, you know, something like that. Whereas this seems more present tense rather than future tense, if that makes sense. So that's why I thought, but maybe the plan is to roll it out in North America and Western Europe, I think towards the end of this month. I will make inquiries. I will double check with the team at GeForce Now whether it may have already started rolling out. But I'm not sure there is a test specifically. So I know some people said, is there a test that you could do? Like a command like this. So I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, I think they will definitely be sending out the email when it's ready, sending out an email to let you know that the thing is up and ready and all of that. Inled's in the house. Good to see you, Inled. Let me just take that down. Yay, cloud validation. Awesome update, that's for sure. We'll have all the power in the world anyone will ever need for gaming. I just wish they could start heavily investing in the library. Well, it's a slightly different model, but yeah, it would be good. You'd like to think in a way that publishers would start coming to them. They've given them every reason to showcase their games for people that don't have, you know, expensive gaming rigs. And now you've got to have a pretty expensive gaming rig. I mean, GeForce Now are claiming that the power behind this is 5 times more powerful than an Xbox Series X. Surely it is in publishers' interest to be on the platform. People still have to buy your game. You're not losing out now. I understand the early sort of trepidation at the beginning when GeForce Now first launched from publishers. But now I think it's tried and tested. And now it's probably one of the best showcases for your games if they're powered by GeForce, you know, by all the kind of lovely extra magic that GeForce kind of offer. So it makes sense. Giovanni, do you know when the 4080 will be available in Europe? So Western Europe and America are meant to be towards the end of this month. Now, how quick that rollout is, I don't know, but it's meant to be fairly soon for Europe and North America. So I think basically if your service is provided by NVIDIA, so some places in the world, the NVIDIA GeForce Now is provided by someone else. So in in India, it's the Geo Cloud Gaming Service. It's Geo that powers NVIDIA. So in some territories, it's powered by another telecommunications company that they've done a deal with. where it's powered by NVIDIA, I would expect to see that roll out fairly soon. So the word is, and we'll come to it in more detail, we'll come to the announcement in more detail, that North America and Europe should be by the end of the month. Torres is listening, Christopher. Suarez, good to see you. Spatey Boy, been playing Cult of the Lamb. Amazing game. Christopher Torres loves the upgrade news. It is amazing. I was thinking earlier, actually, you know, being a Stadia fan, a former Stadia fan, as it were, I mean, our brains would have exploded if Stadia had announced something like this. You know, we're upgrading the servers that we'd promised, and now you can play 120 frames per second, 4K, 120. Our brains would have exploded. Suarez says, try Control Alt F6 whilst in stream. I shall try that. Thank you, Suarez. Oh, hit Control N. Very good. Okay, we'll try that. It's Joe. Not just Joe. It's just Joe. It's not just Joe. It's just Joe. I really wish they could give us desktop mode with Windows licensing so we can install our own games with no restrictions. Gets a bit complicated, but I get where you're coming from. I think GeForce Now is great. It's just developers keep taking their games off here and there. Only problem. I know, and that is annoying, but I think the publishers need to sort their act out. I think the onus is on publishers. I think the negotiating power of GeForce Now, especially where they've enhanced, they're basically saying, look, your games are going to run amazing on anybody with a gaming PC that's got an RTX 4080, 4070, 4090, whatever in it, a GeForce graphics card in it. But that's limited to to people with expensive gaming rigs. Surely you'd want to showcase your game to an even wider field, If no Dead Space remake or Forsaken this month, then not worth the upgrade, says No Time Pete. Woo! Yeah, Control N to see the GPU. There we are. You've heard it here first, folks. You've heard it here first. So just on the games, I've been playing a lot of Death Stranding, carrying my boxes around. I fired it up on my... so mostly I play GeForce Now on here, just because I just find it easier on my PC. But actually, recently, I fired up Death Stranding on the old LG TV on the app, using the smart app. And it went into the game seamlessly, no fiddling about or anything like that. And it looked amazeballs. It looked really great. So I'm sort of getting into playing GeForce Now via the LG app a little bit more. So yeah, I've been playing a bit of that, and then of course a bit of The Witcher 3, of course. This is limited to GeForce. I've been playing other games on Xbox and stuff, but GeForce Now, it's mostly The Witcher 3 and Death Stranding. Have they taken off more games since it came out of beta? I'm not sure. I think it's one or two, not many. I think now they're able to offer 1080p, 240 hertz. Possibly we could see them sponsoring some competitive tournaments to bring more attention to cloud gaming, especially given the latency issue as well. I'm not sure. That doesn't really happen that much. Mega Time Gamer. I think if the game is on there, it's on there. I'm just going to move my chat box. It's... boop. Yeah. Sorry, I was just altering the stream while we talk there. Yeah, in my experience, if the game is on there, it's on there. It's not like sort of Games Pass where they come in and out. It's more about, I think once a publisher says, yeah, I'm up for that. It's a different business model than say something like Games Pass where they're only getting revenue on Game Pass. You're only getting revenue from, Xbox having done a deal with you. Whereas on GeForce Now, people have still got to buy the game. So once it's on, it's on. I think that's, more likely, really. It stays on. The issue is getting publishers to tick the box to say, yep, we haven't got a problem. Stick it on there. No problem. Right. Let's dive into the news a bit more. There's so much news. I didn't have time to do a full-on news studio thing. But anyway, here we go. As we said, GeForce Now RTX 4080 to the cloud with GeForce Now Ultimate membership. So as I showed you, if you're on the 3080 tier, if you sign into GeForce Now, in the corner, the top right-hand corner, it now says Ultimate, plus 19 games. So yeah, the super pods here. Here we've got the super pods. GeForce Now is bringing the RTX 4080 performance to the cloud with the Now Ultimate membership. It's powered by the NVIDIA Ada Lovelace architecture in upgraded GeForce Now RTX 4080 super pods. So they've got to go in and change all the cards there. GeForce Now Ultimate members receive 3 major streaming upgrades. First, the new SuperPods are capable of rendering and streaming at up to 240 frames per second for the lowest latency ever from the cloud. Paired with NVIDIA Reflex, members' gameplay will feel almost indistinguishable from the local desktop. Now, if you remember last year, let's fire this up, this little demo here. This is a great demo here. Now, obviously, it's super slowed down. And, for us old timers like me, we probably won't notice it. But instinctively, we might feel it, if that makes sense. But I think, it's incredible. This is the best example, I think, where it's slowed down. At the top there, you've got the 240 hertz. And look at that. I mean, look, 25 milliseconds. This is, 25 milliseconds versus 71 milliseconds on Rainbow Six Siege. That is a big difference. About 50 is what you notice, as I understand it, in terms of... I think you might feel it slightly, but much faster that you don't really notice. Like the brain can't comprehend, but I think you do sense it to a certain degree, but you can't necessarily notice it. But that 50, but beyond, below 50 milliseconds, but that 50 milliseconds is something that's tangible, and that's really significant. The Ultimate upgrade brings support for the latest NVIDIA RTX technologies like full ray tracing and DLSS 3, which was launched as part of the RTX 40 series launch. So I just want to focus on that. If you remember, where I find it not years ago, way back when, back in a year ago, actually, interestingly enough, a year ago, here we are. Digital Foundry did an assessment here of NVIDIA's 3080 tier versus local gaming, xCloud, and Stadia. And this will really help put this thing into context. So this is the difference here. End-to-end latency, right? It's saying GeForce Now RTX 4080, reflex mode, 240 hertz mode. The end-to-end latency here is 34 milliseconds compared to Xbox Series X. This is natively, this is playing Fortnite. Xbox Series X at 60 hertz mode, in fairness, 90 milliseconds. That's the difference. That is native. The Xbox One is native. So a year ago, they did some benchmarks here. And let's get to the comparison of the latency. So here we are. This was the latency here. If you can see this here. Native PC. This is at 60 hertz. Playing Destiny 2. Now, it's a different game, but it does give you a sense of how amazing this reduction in latency is. Destiny 2 at 60 hertz. Native, playing natively on your PC. 49 millisecond latency. Xbox Series X. Latency, 85 milliseconds. And GeForce Now app was coming up around about 81. So even then, the GeForce Now PC app was faster than a native Xbox Series X in latency. So people want to say, oh, you know, too much latency in cloud gaming. Now, it truly is, the only difference truly is if you're like, you are a competitive gamer. Not competitive gaming, whether you are a competitive gamer, like a top elite, you know, a need a 4090 card and all of that kind of stuff natively. Other than that, we're now getting, if let's go back to that, what they're, we're now getting 34 milliseconds via the cloud, which is faster than the majority of gaming experiences natively. The only way you'll possibly beat that is if you've probably got a 4080 card in your PC and it's under your desk. You're not going to beat it on the Series X. Probably won't beat it on the PlayStation 5. Probably won't beat it even if you've got a sort of a bit of a potato of a gaming PC. That's how amazing that is. 34 milliseconds now. When we were blown away last year at 81.7 and 59.5 at 120 there. I mean, Outriders, 103 milliseconds. Even a native Xbox is 107. And this, of course, assumes as well that those that are playing on a console, yeah, have set the settings on their TV correctly, because that's going to add another 20, 30 milliseconds easy. If you've not, you know, hopefully if you've got an Xbox Series X, you've set your TV properly. Outriders here. Again, native PC, albeit at 60 hertz, 60 milliseconds, 49.3 natively back in the day. So that really puts this in context. Now, obviously, they're putting the top number, but even if it's like 50 milliseconds or something like that, anything under that sort of 70 milliseconds, you're in native territory. That makes sense. Yeah? It's like playing natively. I mean, I've never noticed any kind of real latency, even when I was playing, you know, Stadia and stuff on the good games that were ported well. Never really noticed any latency. Never really noticed any on GeForce Now, especially since I've been playing on 3080 tier. But then I've not played with a £3,000 gaming rig. So all of this is gravy for me. All of this is amazing experience. But it just blows me away in terms of it's beyond science how they managed to be able to get that sense or that feeling that, you know, the game is running at 34 millisecond latency. Unbelievable. That's as good as, if not better than native in some cases. Now, obviously, it's not going to be that on every single game. This is on Fortnite, which is probably one of the easiest games to kind of, most PCs, for obvious reasons, can play it at varying degrees of latency. But if you're playing Fortnite on GeForce Now, you're playing it in one of the best latencies you're probably going to get, other than having a 4080 rig or a 3080 rig under your desk. You can be playing it better than Xbox Series X and probably better than PlayStation 5. In fairness, I'd like to see what it is like. What they put here at 60 hertz mode on Xbox Series X. I wonder what it's like at 120 hertz mode. In fairness, it's got to be a little bit quicker than that. That would have been a fairer comparison, in fairness to Xbox Series X. But that aside, mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And the science behind it. There are some... let's just get here. We'll play this improved latency clip. Oh, this is the clip. Yeah, this is the clip I showed earlier. I mean, it does, super slowed down, but it does make a massive difference. Now, I play with the controller. They're playing with a mouse here, keyboard and mouse here. I'm blaming this. This is why I'm no good at Apex, yeah? My game changes when they roll out 4080 tier. My game's changing. This is why I keep missing and I get hit. This is it. No, I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't notice that millisecond, that change in latency. But I think the game will just feel better. Yeah. But it is pretty impressive when you think about it. Not only that, I like driving in my car. Hello. So they're bringing GeForce Now to cars, which is pretty cool. We always saw people like setting up, I could play Stadia in my, Tesla or whatever and setting it up on their lovely fancy screens. And obviously you're going to need to be, driving your electric car in a city with a good network. But I think the idea is that they optimize the network in the car so that you get this kind of, a good experience. And it's limited to a small number of car manufacturers. So Polestar and Hyundai, which is pretty big in terms of the number of cars they do. But this is the future of going on holiday with your kids. Not in our country, not in the UK, because once you get down to Cornwall, or you take your kids down to Cornwall, you're getting a black spot. It's not going to work. But, this is the future, isn't it? AAA gaming in the back of your car. Take a Switch, Clive. Well, it's not really, But that was another announcement they made at CES as well, which is quite interesting. So the other thing as well is, and something asked for quite a lot, was ultra wide resolution. So I don't know whether you've got, I've contemplated getting an ultra wide monitor for gaming and stuff. Well, not just gaming, for productivity. I've got two big screens here. But this is a much requested thing here. And I think it's unique to cloud gaming. You can play in native ultra-wide solutions. I did see an example. Have I got the... No, there was a clip I'm sure I had. Yeah, there's no clip there. So things like, A Plague Tale, Requiem, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, all play in a beautiful widescreen resolution in sort of 3080/40 by 1600 for that truly immersive experience. So that's pretty cool. And of course, the game library keeps on growing. We've got Portal with RTX. Now, that's the interesting thing, is that they're really showing off games that are enhanced by GeForce RTX, which is obviously a big thing with the RTX 40 class graphics cards. They're really pushing this. And so I think that what we'll start seeing is the games that they're promoting that have the benefits of RTX, I would like to think would be available to play in the GeForce Now library. So it says the new year also brings some of the biggest, and we know a Portal with RTX is going to be available in GeForce Now. Here, look. So, in addition, members can look forward to games this week. We've got Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the Game Complete Edition on Steam. That's released today. Carrier Command 2, Project Hospital, and Portal RTX. So, you're getting Portal RTX version. Don't want a Shopify advert, excuse me. Get off. From Valve. I never played the original Portal. Let me know in the chat whether you did. But now with RTX on, look at it, you can see that. Reimagined with ray tracing and NVIDIA DLSS 3. Really sort of showcasing the difference. Oh, it's going to hurt my brain, isn't it? It's a puzzle, you know. These crazy puzzle games. But much, you know, Lord, it'd be interesting to see what it's like with RTX on, of course, now available to play on your 4080 tier. In fact, there's some, when I was talking about some big games that were coming, let's check out these. These are also announced. So the day before, again, now these were promoted with having on the fact that they had GeForce RTX on. And again, I don't know whether this is coming, will be available in GeForce Now, but part of me thinks, why promote it and not put pressure on the publisher to bring it to GeForce Now? So I think we will see this on GeForce Now. I'm pretty certain of it. One game that they did showcase, we definitely will be seeing, and I'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, the day before, exclusive 4K RTX on. Now, this is what makes me think, the fact that it's exclusive 4K RTX on gameplay. Okay, you know, the fact that they put, you know, had the exclusive reveal of this game that utilizes RTX and DLSS 3 available at launch makes me think, surely it's got to be on GeForce Now. Surely it has. Stop calling me surely. Then the other games that I noticed that they showcased, this has got real, yeah, this has got real Doom Eternal style to it. Just the way that you sort of, that first person way that you sort of move forward really quickly. It's got a kind of real fast, twitchy movement to it. The way this the gun goes forward and then back and forward and back. You can have that Doom Eternal kind of manner. Again, this was exclusive reveal of a game utilizing the RTX functionality. So I expect this game to be available on GeForce Now for the same reason. Witchfire coming with DLS and GeForce RTX on. So this is what I was thinking. I thought the only exception might be that they showed with RTX that might not come to GeForce Now would be this. But it turns out it is coming, which surprised me, because this is going to be available day one on Xbox Series, on Xbox Game Pass. But it also is going to be available to play via GeForce Now. And it's Atomic Heart, a game I've talked about on my Xbox show every Monday night, 10 p.m. UK times. It's the Xbox Monday Night Chat. We've shown and showcased a bit of the Atomic Heart because it's a big game for Xbox. And yet, in the press release I got about GeForce Now, there's a big banner for Atomic Heart. In fact, let me show you it. That indicate it's coming to GeForce Now. Again, this is exclusive gameplay of Atomic Heart using RTX GeForce Now. RTX GeForce RTX. And if I just find it for you, it might say it in the actual... Let's have a look. We'll go through all the other games. Yeah. In my press release, here, look. I got a picture of Portal. We'll go back to the... Right? Behind my head, if you can see, it says GeForce Now, right? And that was announced in the press release there. Then if I go here, Atomic Heart. Yeah? And if I move out the way, look. So Atomic Heart, by the looks of things, is coming to GeForce Now. So there you go. Let's do a rundown of the games, just so you know. I will list the games. Oh, having an argument in the chat. We'll come to it. So this week on January, we have Farlanders. It's a new game on Steam. Occupy Mars, the game. Grimstar Crystals are the new oil. Watch Dogs Legion, which is coming to Steam. Raiden 4 X Mikado Remix on new game on Steam. Absolute Drift. Is that a car racing game? Absolute. Surely it's got to be. Yes. This is the PlayStation 4 trailer. All right, okay. It's like a physics game. Well, yeah. It's like a physics game. You've got to get your drift in just right. Okay. Blacktail. Cygnus Enterprises, Destroy All Humans, Steam on Epic Store, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, Dwarf Fortress, The Eternal Cylinder, Hello Neighbor 2, Immortals Phoenix Rising on Steam. If you have this on Ubisoft, you can play it via the Ubisoft account, of course, but if you don't have it via Ubisoft, it's now going to be available via Steam. MX versus ATV Legends, Nebulous Fleet Command, Rain World, The Valiant, and Way of the Hunter are all coming to GeForce Now library in January. Plus, this week, we've got Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game Complete Edition, Carrier Command 2, Project Hospital, Portal, Excuse me. And Severed Steel. Is this like a robot game? Let's have a look. Like a robot fighting game. Ooh. No, good. A first person. Right, okay. There's a bit like, what's it called? Red Hot. No, what's it called? Is it... Oh. What's the game? I love it. Oh, what's the one where it all goes into... It's all sort of white and red and goes into slow motion. Not Hot Red. What's it called? It used to be on Stadia. Oh, somebody knows. Somebody will tune into my brain and know what I'm thinking about. Mind. No. Oh, doing my head in now. Anyway, loads of stuff. As they say in this tweet here, which Ultimate announcement are you most excited about? 240 frames per second, RTX with DLSS 3, 4K streaming, ultra-wide monitor support. I think, for me, 4K streaming, 120 frames per second. I'm quite happy with that. That'll do me. I'm very happy with that. Let's go to the chat, see what you lot have been chatting about. Might be a silly question, but why would publishers not want it on GFN? Is there a cost or something? It's not a silly question, Suarez. They would not want it on GFN because because cloud gaming is fairly new, although it was back in the day. I don't think they want to. They may be wary of signing up to something that they might want to do themselves down the line. You know, so any new market where you can exploit existing IP or whatever, some publishers especially large publishers, we have it in TV initially when, streaming started happening with TV. People were a bit suspicious or a bit concerned about the business model until it had sort of sorted itself out a bit, or, got had sort of a period of time to kind of sort of show you what the value in that market was. People don't want to undersell themselves or oversell themselves. And sometimes in a nascent market, it can be difficult. So some publishers are kind of a bit reticent. But now, as I've said before on this show, yeah, I agree with you. There is no cost. There is no cost. And it's only upside for publishers, really. All they got to do is tick a box. That's it. Tick a box. But, some publishers are super, like anybody, when you're dealing with anybody with IP, you get some that really like the agreements you've got to sign because they're so super, super protective of their IP, which is fair enough. But like the agreements are so narrowly defined that it's very restrictive. Sometimes at the detriment of the company that are having the restrictive contracts. So, yeah, but nowadays I'd say, why would you not? Yeah. Why would you not want your game on? Unless it's an exclusive, unless you've done an exclusive with somebody, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But otherwise, it's just, we've said it before. You've still got to buy the game. You've still got to go to Steam. What's it matter if I play it on my PC that's under my desk or I play it via the cloud? What difference does it make? Not really anything. And that's the argument that GeForce Now need to make. And I think they are making it more and more. And especially now they've got this added argument that they could say, not only that, since your game is powered with RTX for the 40 series cards, what better showcase than GeForce Now Ultimate? We are giving you an opportunity for a larger number of people to experience your game that utilizes RTX in the best possible way. What's not to like about that? They've still got to pay for the game. Consumers still got to pay for the game. They're not losing out. So there we go. Yeah, it's greed, but I think you're right. They're losing out. They think they're losing out, but I think there are different cloud gaming models. And I think in terms of the GeForce Now one, because it's not a subscription model, i.e. we're not getting games, we're not subscribing to a subscription package of games, I think the risk is a lot less for publishers. Because as I said, you're limiting a whole raft of people who might want to buy your game, but don't buy it or can't buy it because they don't have, you know, a gaming PC to play it at its fullest extent. And so they don't buy it. You're leaving money on the table. Or, you know, in my view. If Steam Deck really takes off, then I could see a future where Valve distances itself away from GFN because the Steam Deck would be competing platform for GFN. I'm not sure. They're very different. They're different things. They can complement each other, I'd say. Why, you know, people want a Steam Deck so they can take their gaming with them. Yeah. Now, you can download the games onto your Steam Deck or play them via the cloud. Thanks to GeForce Now. Doesn't make any difference. People still want to play them on the Steam Deck. So they sort of complement each other. List the games. I'm not sure, but I had 51 and now I had 51 on there and now I've got 41 games. That's interesting. Footy with the boys. Oscar's doing well. Thank you. GFN enhances the power of Steam Deck. I don't think it will happen. Yeah, exactly. I think it's complementary. That's what I was saying, Cloud. Problem with GFN is it does not have 100% control of its business as a lot depends on external stores. Yeah, that's why it's a different business model. They are dependent on their relationship with the stores. Epic, EA, Steam, GOG. And as long as they can maintain, you know, and the stores may be restricted in what they can do. It may be, the issue may be with the stores. You know, it could be publishers say to Steam, yeah, you can sell our game. And then Steam go, can we sell it so that people can play it via the cloud? And they go, well, we're not sure about that. We haven't worked out the business model for that. Only for download. Download only at the moment. Download only at the moment. And then that would kind of mean that you couldn't play it via GeForce Now. I think it's old-fashioned thinking at the moment. I understood it at the beginning. I completely understood the wariness at the beginning, especially when GeForce Now went from beta to full throttle and sold themselves on the back of, you know, mega games. Yeah? Sign up to GeForce Now and play Fortnite or whatever it is, but these massive games. They were using the name of the games to sell their service. And in that way, the publishers are thinking, wait a minute, you're selling your service off the back of our brands. Surely that means we should be getting a bit of, you know, money. Whereas now, I think that balance has tipped slightly. And it's in publishers' interest to get their games or make their games available via GeForce Now. That's just my view. The business model's tipped. Mega Times says you still need great internet speeds for GeForce Now. Well, I have an average of 50 megabits per second. I can't, you know, it gets up maybe, I'm sold 70 megabits per second. It averages out, guarantee, of around 50 megabits per second. That's the guarantee. So it's up to 70 megabits per second, guarantee of 50 megabits per second. So I don't have fiber to door, and yet GeForce Now plays amazing. They all do. All the services do. For me, Stadia was always amazing. xCloud, you know, but now it's fine. I was playing Sniper Elite 5 xCloud last night. It's the one I have most problems with, but it was still amazing. It's still pretty good on the Xbox X Cloud and GeForce Now recently. Yeah, it's amazing. I have very minimal issues, if at all, especially when I'm alone in the house, put it that way. So yeah, you don't need super speed. You just need stable. You need a stable internet in your house. Yeah. If you're reliant on Wi-Fi, dodgy Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter what speed is coming in. If your Wi-Fi is a bit spotty, yeah, that's why I'm wired everywhere. I don't rely on Wi-Fi to play my cloud gaming services. Yeah, I'm wired in. I'm wired in on the computer. I'm wired in on the TV. The only one I'm not wired in on the TV is my bedroom TV. And even then it's fine because I've got my Wi-Fi, you know, reasonably optimized. It's not being interfered with too much. So if I have to play on Wi-Fi, it's fine. Unless you play a gaming monitor on console, then it's as bad as TV. It's much better with latency input delay is minimal. Unless you play on a gaming monitor, then it isn't as bad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like if you've got a good TV, like the new LG TVs or the new Samsung TVs, which are optimized for gaming and stuff like that, you're getting more of a monitor experience. But if you've got an older TV, then yeah, the processing power of that TV adds, you know, quite a chunk, depending on how old your TV is, to the latency. This is what the argument about, you know, cloud gaming is, that, you know, people say, oh, too much latency. And yet when you pointed out that their TV was probably adding anywhere between 50 to 70 milliseconds latency to their native, to the back in the day, to their old Xbox One or whatever, they couldn't quite comprehend. So if you'd optimized your, you know, monitor and you were playing Stadia via that or something like that, you could be having better latency than someone playing natively who hadn't optimized their TV. But TVs are a lot better now. My LG TV one is brilliant. It really is. And I, as I understand it, the Samsung ones are good as well. People do not buy the Steam Deck to play cloud gaming. There are other mobile solutions to that. It's true. They don't, but they can play it. And I think having that option, people, you know, to do both is why I don't think the business models are competing. SteamOS is a way to play Windows games on machines that cannot, through lack of power or compatibility. Over time, it's unable to run. They're available. That's a no-brainer. Exactly. It's complementary. Do a thought experiment. Imagine a world where a device like G Cloud sells 100 million and everybody buys it to play PC games. And people, I think what you've got is like I think with the Steam Deck is you've got that hybrid, which right now in cloud gaming, people like. I say people, the majority of the people. This is the issue about cloud gaming, that, you know, I thought people would be amazingly brilliant and insightful and intelligent, just like me, and embrace cloud gaming full on. Yeah. But as has worked out, the mainstream isn't really ready to embrace cloud gaming full on. There's plenty of early adopters, but not the mainstream. But the mainstream is willing to dabble in a bit of cloud gaming on the side, you know, whether you test out a game on Xbox, you know, xCloud. Oh, I quite like that. Works quite well. Download it. Or you want to play something in the car, but when you're home, you've downloaded the game. Yeah. So it's that balance. And I think it's that kind of area of that combination of playing natively and via cloud gaming, because you can, is where I think the Steam Deck kind of works for a lot of people, because it gives them both options, and where I don't think they're competing. So that's kind of my perspective. Yeah, I never got the Steam Deck. but I'm not a PC gamer. And I did think, you know, now I understand why it is like cloud validation is saying here. It's like a stepping stone between full-on cloud gaming. I personally didn't think we needed a stepping stone, but the market has spoken. Yeah, we can tell that what happened to Stadia for various reasons. The market has spoken. It's not ready to embrace cloud gaming full-on. The general populace of gamers. But stepping stone, a halfway house, is a possible solution. There's only 3 games available for ultra-wide monitors for GFN at the moment. Is that right? Is it just Phoenix, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and The Witcher? They might just bring more. It'll be interesting to see where SteamOS goes, Gandara. That is true. But yeah, SteamOS expansion beyond the Steam Deck. Yeah, it needs other market. It needs other people to adopt it, which they are. They're trying with the Chromebooks, aren't they, to run a sort of SteamOS, as I understand it. It's a shame we can't. Yeah, it is. It is. This is full-on conversation between Gandara and cloud validation. I can see a time where Valve and GeForce Now get together. I can see that. I mean, yeah. Imagine making Steam fully, you know. I can see a point where Steam goes full cloud, powered by NVIDIA. Why invent your own when NVIDIA have got it? What NVIDIA, when I spoke to GeForce Now, the team at GeForce Now, they just want people to play PC games. They're into PC gaming. That's what they're into. Because ultimately, they're into people they want people to buy GeForce Now graphics card. GeForce graphics cards. So actually, they're not that bothered whether you play via GeForce Now or having, you know, thought, wow, I'm going to invest now and build myself a gaming PC and then buy a GeForce Now, a GeForce RTX graphics card. They're not too bothered. They're just into PC gaming, and they're giving people an opportunity to PC game, because what drives PC gaming for the majority of PC games, game machines, NVIDIA GeForce. That's what they're pushing. And if they can make it, they make PC gaming available to more people that necessarily can't afford a gaming rig, all the more better. So that's their push. That's what they're interested in. They're not saying we want everybody to cloud game. That's not what they're thinking. It's not like the Stadia model, which is like, we are creating a completely contained sort of virtual cloud console because we want everybody to game in that space on the cloud. NVIDIA are not running that way. They have both feet in both parks. They want people to build gaming PCs and buy NVIDIA graphics cards. And they want people to experience PC gaming, albeit in the cloud, who, you know, almost like a feeder drug, to go and then build, you know, a gaming PC or not. It doesn't matter. So I can see them sort of, you know, doing a deal with Valve or Steam. It's in their interests. You've asked them about the power of Microsoft. If they aggressively push into Microsoft's territory, they regret it. You can take that to the bank. Well, Microsoft's, currently focused, aren't they, on Microsoft are all about getting content and doing that, getting that deal through the door. Activision Blizzard deal. The facts are out there. Publishers looking for other choices outside of Valve because of their overwhelming control of the PC gaming industry. In the world of making enemies. The word on street is planning an on opening a competitor to Steam, offering publishers significantly lower licensing fees. Well, it is. Microsoft have made, Xbox have made they've made no secret of the fact that they want to build a PC library. Yeah, and Xbox gaming now is not about the console. Whoop, whoop. Subscriber. Xbox gaming is about PC, cloud, console. It's not just about one. They've made no secret about that. And the fact that some of their biggest success last year was on people who subscribed on Game Pass for the PC, Xbox PC Game Pass. That saw some of the biggest growth. So they know there's a market for people who just like playing on their PC. And they're going after that market, absolutely. And they've seen growth in that market. So Internet Games arrives late, right? Detention for Internet Games. As well as Google's vested interest in the same market, I think Valve will be doing everything they can to hold on what they have. No developer in their right mind would put their game on Steam. That's why Ubisoft and EA came back. They have substantial power. In the background, developers are looking for a way to make bigger profits and eliminate Valve's grasping hands. Super hot. Thank you. No time, Pete. Super hot. I had it there. Thank you. That was bugging me. Super hot. Super hot. Yeah, that game anyway. Steel, what was it called? Steel series? Here it is. Severed Steel. Severed Steel reminds me of Super Hot. Right. In my vision, it's not going to happen because NVIDIA and GeForce Now are not any sort of threat to Valve or Steam. They're the exact opposite. SteamOS and the other not competing platforms. That's apples and oranges. Exactly. Google used AMD. AMD are the only GPU manufacturer ubiquitous across data centers worldwide to challenge NVIDIA's presentation. Maybe Stadia got bought out, hence all the lolly and free games for users. Yeah. Who cares? We've got the free lolly. Well, I was optimistic that this was the case about Stadia, that the tech, but I'm not convinced in the violent way that Stadia was shuttered, and based on my sort of inside sources, I assumed in a way that, you know, they would go full throttle on the kind of, and I hate the term, everybody knows who follows my shit, you know, watch the Stadia Monday Night Chat will know, I hate this term, white label, but would go full throttle with that business model now Stadia was shutting down. But unfortunately, the cuts at Google were not just about shutting down Stadia. It was about reducing the headcount, reducing jobs, and reducing focus on some areas. And I think some of those areas included that tech. Not to say, no, the selling of that tech is the sense I get from inside sources. So my hope was that, yeah, they would do a deal, I don't know, with Ubisoft. I did a whole video about how I could see Ubisoft bringing out their own cloud gaming platform, effectively powered by the Stadia tech. But I think that tech will be recycled within Google for other things. The ability to stream graphics interactively with minimal latency lends itself to applications beyond gaming. And I think the lessons and learnings and the tech and the engineering that they've got from Stadia are more likely to appear in other applications than they are in a game in a cloud gaming, offering from someone else. That's just my feeling. I think the cuts that Google made, that Stadia was a victim of, went much deeper than merely, shuttering Stadia. I think they'll take the tech like they do with other things. They'll take the tech and they'll use it for other things that they're doing. That's just my gut feeling. Like they did that whole thing where they create an avatar, like an almost real, a photo real avatar of yourself, so you can communicate with somebody almost like you're face to face when you're not even in the same space, and it almost feels real. That kind of random stuff that they're working on. Totally just behind. So go out and say one more thing. GFN just changed everything. Yeah. You'd actually need, exactly. The maths now, there used to be an equation, wouldn't it? You'd go, is it worth me, I've got really good internet, solid internet, is it worth me building a gaming PC with a 3080 in it, or paying, 20 quid a month, $19 a month for 2 years? Well, as it turned out, when would you have upgraded your graphics card? Yeah, say you bought a gaming PC in October 2021 and you put a 3080 in it. Would you be buying a 4080 now? After about 15 months? Or would you wait 2 years? Because that's effectively what GeForce Now have done. They gave you a brand new 3080 gaming rig in October 2021. And about 15 months later, they're now giving you a 4080. Would you have upgraded in that space of time? If you were, you've got a gaming PC? I know some people have, but they're like hardcore gaming PC, master race folk. But it is interesting. So there's the equation. Is it worth building a gaming rig? Don't know. I think big games are having deals with an upcoming cloud service, and small games look for a reason to sue. Interesting. Have they updated requirements of the current computer I use, and I'm able to play at 1440p 120? Hey, Yoshida, sending love. Sending love right back to you, Yoshida. Arigato gozaimasu. Yokoso. Another thing, once Microsoft get Activision, what's to stop them opting all their studios out of GFN so they're only available on xCloud? Exactly. Although it is nothing, Gandhara, nothing, although it is against what they're saying about wanting people to play, what's to say they don't make if they build out their PC game library, their Xbox PC game library, what's to say they don't make it available on GeForce Now? I mean, Atomic Heart is one of the major, I'm doing a video at the moment about major games coming to Xbox Game Pass. And Atomic Heart is one of those major games. And yet, as I've revealed today, it looks like, although it's not officially, it's got the label on it, it looks like it's going to be available via GeForce Now. And I thought that was a major title for Xbox, PC, and obviously Game Pass. Nailed it, Clive. That hybrid explanation, good stuff, great show. Thank you, Cloud. White label is dead as well. What I meant was I think the whole Stadia tech could have been bought out. Yeah. I think Google are more likely to recycle the tech internally. That's more of a Google thing rather than sell off the tech. recycle it internally, and then sell off those, license those services as part of their cloud offering, their business cloud, their cloud enterprise offering. I personally feel like Sony has to be searching for somebody to partner with for cloud service in the future. Right now it's been done by Microsoft. Well, yeah. Interesting. I can't say much about that. That's all I'm saying. Really hope GFN gets the big games. Be such a exactly. I do as well. I mean, they do get big games, but yeah. I mean, I've been playing the hell out of Death Stranding, but there are some. It's criminal that Warzone, is not available on there. The Sony PC games, but that's Sony. And, no disrespect, they're an old-fashioned company, Sony. But yeah, there are definitely some big games missing. But plenty of choice, 1,500 games. Yeah. Now, some of them are, as we've said, are sort of shovelware, but there's enough quality in there to keep most gamers happy. And as I say, like not being a PC gamer, I was busy over Christmas grabbing all the free Epic games, hence Death Stranding, and picking up, games in the sale and winning a few games on the Rock Show. So, I'm paying $20. Exactly. If you're not getting if over this year, if we're not getting those big games, you might question that $20 a month. And I think that's not unreasonable. But generally, they do pretty well. I mean, they do a lot better than Stadia did, if we're brutally honest about it, in terms of the big games, don't they? Because it is just a box ticking exercise. Anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the GeForce Now Thursday Chat. A lot to unpack there. Really exciting news. I wish I could have done a full, slick news package for you, but there was so much news, I didn't have time. But there we go. Sony, Japanese big business, does things a lot differently than 90% of the rest of the world. They're really good chess players. Yeah, they probably have much longer, business plans. Although the thing is with that, bear in mind a lot of Japanese offices still have fax machines. That's the problem. Senior management in Japanese companies, as I understand it, tend to be a lot older. And therefore, decision-making, a bit like the old oil tanker. Takes a long time to turn around. It always seems like a modern society that we get the impression in the West, and it is in some regards, super clean, modern, efficient. But in other regards, especially some areas of business, it's run by very senior management, like when older people and who are a bit more set in their ways. And I think that can impact on some businesses. So whilst, they play the long game, the world is changing a lot more rapidly. You need to adapt. If you have a 10-year business plan, you need to adapt a lot more quicker than perhaps back in the day. That's my observation anyway. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming by. If you're watching this after the show, you're very, very welcome. Don't forget to hit the likes. Subscribe if you're new. I'd really appreciate that. Consider joining. And you get a few little insiders from me and all of that. Have a wonderful, wonderful gaming week. Enjoy your games. Let me know if suddenly you fire up GeForce Now Ultimate tier and it's 4080 blasting in your face. Let me know. I will let you know, certainly. I'll be back on Monday night for the Xbox Monday Night Chat. those that are interested. All things Xbox, xCloud, etc. and Game Pass. 10 p.m. UK live Monday nights for that. And in terms of GeForce Now, same time, same place next week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for getting involved in the chat. Really, really appreciate it. And have a wonderful, wonderful week as I hit the outro.